This content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If
Oh.
you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
We return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm wearing my cold outfit here today because heating's expensive. But I'm also with my co-host, who may not be as cold as I am because he's at his house. Kotobukijake.
And I'm in the hottest room in the house, but whatever.
See, what we need to do is we need to trade off by about 10 degrees. Bring my temperature from like 60 to 70. Bring yours down.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I'm blowing it your way.
There you go. There you go. There we go. But we got some pretty cool stuff here. Nothing like huge. I'm sure that we'll have a little bit of Black Friday magic coming in. I had a couple orders that hit me that didn't help me with my negatives that I got into, but I wasn't expecting a lot of medical bills and stuff like that, as you don't really expect. But I did manage to get my Sentai order in because they're doing the Black Friday sale. And they had a couple of things that I felt like needed to be in the collection. And then then I had a couple of low budget things that I had to get. I went ahead and I purchased that Mazes and Monsters thing, which is kind of cool. So have you so I know that you're not right now going it, but are there any sales that you're actually thinking that you might look at between now and the end of them in mid-December?
Well, so far the only one I've been able to look at is the Criterion sale, and I have not put the nail on the lid for that one yet. Other than that, I'm hoping there'll be some stuff probably with my next check. But the thing is, I'll probably be doing nothing on Black Friday. It'll be like the first time in years that I'm basically ignoring Black Friday as a consumer, which is probably a good thing. But
I actually figured out what I'm going to get Kim for her Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And it just hit me off the top of my head. And I don't mind saying it here because she never watches the show.
All right.
Just great.
One time.
And I'm going to probably get her an office chair because she's been using that kitchen chair for her beauty room, and she actually has it mostly together. So a comfortable office chair would be the last thing she needs. And I'm not getting a gaming chair because those are needlessly expensive. I'm probably going to go to Office Max and get a nice one that's probably on sale. And that'll go in, that'll fall in really nicely. And I think she will like it, which is
good deal.
I think, sometimes you think of something and you go, ooh, there. Well, I guess that's enough conversating. I will go ahead and get into the pickups.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Okay.
I believe you're starting us out, so I will push it over there for you.
I believe so.
Let me grab this, and I'm just going to yank it. Okay.
Yank. There you go. And apologies for the poor lighting, but hopefully y'all can see well enough, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm showing off well enough. The first item I'm getting, you probably knew it was coming if you've been watching this channel. It was a pre-order that was actually part of a Right Stuff sale I can't even remember when at this point. I think it was their birthday sale. But I had upgraded an entire series from DVD to Blu-ray, but I had to pre-order the final volume because it ain't been released yet. So I have already shown off Naruto Set 1. There we go. Set 2. Set 3. Set 4. Set 5. Set 6. And Set 7. And now I can show Set 8 as part of the thing. It is now a completed Blu-ray collection. And I don't know how I had not noticed this before, but just going through these, the final 4 volumes all are fixated on people eating ramen for some reason. I know that's Naruto's.
It's his thing.
It's basically his food group, his ramen. But they even got Gaara in on the action for the final volume, so that was kind of funny. But it is great to finally have that on Blu-ray. And again, this takes up a fraction of the space that old DVD collection did. And I really hope they continue on to do this with Shippuden. Do you know yet if they're going to do that?
I'm sure they will now that they've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, Viz has done this with a lot of their stuff. They're doing it,
Right.
They've done it with Bleach. They've done it with Inuyasha. So it's only a matter of time before Shippuden gets on that. And I tell you, if they give a good bundle deal on it, I might be willing to do it. But because I spent so much money in it,
Yeah.
I think the one that I may have to upgrade like that in the future to save space would be Kill la Kill. But that one I think really does need the Blu-ray treatment. That might be one of the things I get on the sale this year because it is on the sale at Right Stuff.
Is it?
Kill la Kill, yeah. It's not great, but
What is it, like 150 or something like that?
something like that. And I'm just like,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
no,
the
no, no.
usual.
Actually, a couple of Monogatari's things are on there too. So,
Oh, damn it. I'm going to have to look.
but it's kind of fun. What I find interesting is that they have a bunch of Sentai stuff on there, and then whenever Sentai runs their sale, Sentai's price is always better. So
Yeah.
it's always,
And is it still doing that?
yeah.
I mean, I know Right Stuff
Sentai.
did that and good on them. I'm surprised Crunchyroll's playing ball with that, though.
Well, it's Sentai can undercut because you got to keep in mind Crunchyroll. Actually, come to think of it, I don't really. Well, you keep in mind that Sentai does have a big backer too. It's not as big a backer as Sony, who owns Right Stuff now, because Sony is the big daddy that owns all of it. But Sentai's owned by AMC. So they've got some money in there. So they can afford to do those down cuts if they want. So they can afford to undercut. And besides, why would Sentai undercut their own product below what they would do on their own sale?
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like, I was kind of surprised you would. AMC may have a lot of buying power, but Sony has probably more. So if they did get into a price war, I would think Crunchyroll would win. But,
Just wait until Disney buys Sony and then owns all of it. They're looking to get into the anime game. I mean, they've got Bleach. The new Bleach season's going on is on Disney Plus. So
again, it's that picture of Mickey with the Infinity Gauntlet. You know he's after it.
they got shaken up over there. They fired the guy who's been running it, and they put in a new person. So
really,
they brought back the previous boss. So it'll be interesting. Well, I guess I should show something.
Yeah.
I got a video game. Matter of fact, I got 2 video games on this. I'm just taking it all into alphabetical. And this one is 13 Sentinels.
Okay.
Now, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This has been on my far view out of my field of vision for a long time. But GameStop gave an offer for this and another game, which I'll show later on, but not this time. I just couldn't refuse. They discounted this and that other game to $4 each.
Oh my.
And that's new. This thing hasn't been removed from the shrink wrap. So, Valenware, the storytellers behind Odin Sphere and Dragon's Crown, craft a sci-fi mystery epic spanning 13 intertwining stories with beautifully rendered, hand-painted visual styles, very anime-esque, uncovered deep story through visions of the past and the future. Doomsday clock is ticking. Become a Sentinel pilot. Customize your mech and fight waves of kaiju in top-down tactical combat. This is kind of a tactical RPG. I've heard it's decent. And I am looking forward to trying it out eventually. I'm kind of... I'm still trying to beat Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm getting closer. Inching up at a time. And then upstairs, when I'm just kind of sitting there ready for bed, I can play a little bit more on those. And I've been back into Fallout 3, which is kind of funny. So he's like, all these new games. What do? I play one that I've beaten many, many times before.
Of course.
Because Triple Jump actually did a Fallout 3 thing where on their site they ranked every quest. That made me go, oh, I haven't completed any of the DLC for Fallout 3. I need to go back into it. And once you hear Liam Neeson and his dulcet tones, you can't stop. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a man of particular talents and skills.
Right. Okay. Speaking of individuals with particular talents and skills, the strange creature at the center of this next anthology is one that you probably don't want to cross if you can help it. My next 4 have in common that they were my order from this year's Shocktober sale from Scream Factory. I usually do a small order. Oftentimes, as was the case this year, I focus on things we've covered in Movies Galore that I just don't yet have in the collection. And in fact, all 4 of these were ones we covered, although I missed one of the episodes. But this one I did see, I was part of the episode. This is, like I said, an anthology film, a fun, twisted, and very much a Halloween film called Trick or Treat, which you've got Dylan Baker, Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and a bunch of less-known individuals. And like I said, it's an anthology feature with about, 4 stories, I think, that kind of center around this weird creature at the center. And it's all, Halloween night, various individuals. And this collection, this edition has some pretty good special features. Pretty good a number there. So I was definitely glad to add this to the collection. This was probably a little while coming, and I think actually all these are collector's editions. Yeah, so all of these have some pretty cool features, but like I said, good to get that one finally. I might have to prioritize this for next Halloween's viewing.
I think so. It is a great anthology. One of my favorites for a while. I saw one that was pretty cool that I put on my wish list for the next time we watched. That was Bad Candy. That was a fun anthology film. The CGI was kind of bad, but otherwise it was really good. That's what it's done so far. Such a fun film. All right. You actually got a better version than I do. I got the DVD, I think.
Ah, okay.
So Limited Run Games put out a game a while back, probably close to a year ago, because that's usually the idea. You order it and then you wait about a year and then they send it to you. And I was like, okay, I'll get this. I had some extra money at the time and not a lot of sense. And so I went ahead and I got A Boy and His Blob. This is a kind of a remake of the original NES game, where you are a boy and you've got this alien blob. And it's this was done back in 2009. I remember it coming out on Switch, not Switch, the Wii, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this blob and you can feed him jelly beans. And each flavored jelly bean makes them transform into something. It's like if you need a ladder, you give him like a butterscotch jelly bean and then he becomes a ladder. If you need like a trampoline, you feed him a roadkill jelly bean and then he becomes a trampoline. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of these nice little cartoony graphics. So a lot of times polygonal graphics don't hold up very well. A lot of people, there's kind of a resurgence and a nostalgia for them. But I tell you, games that have good pixel art, they hold up amazingly well. Especially from this era and beyond. When you hit the PlayStation 2 era, even PlayStation 1, pixel graphics games still look freaking amazing on those. I mean, shoot. Let's take one that I know you're familiar with. Marvel v. Capcom 2. Now, you tell me, even today, if you were to look at gameplay of that, would that not still look good?
That's a solid game, yes.
Yeah, so, that's pretty cool stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cool.
To you.
Okay, so my next film is from that era. And this is one that is still a bit of a sore spot for me with movies galore. It was one I wanted to cover, but for some reason we did not own it. We now do, but we did not own it in my library system. I did not have a copy. Brandon did not have a copy. And for whatever reason, he decided to bow out of the show and not make any effort to get a copy. So I was left copyless and unable to join this show. And we have not yet had an opportunity to bring it back, which annoys me. But I did finally get a copy in my collection of The Craft, which is Feruzia Balk, Robin Tunney, Rachel True, and Nev Campbell as a group of, what's that?
I have a copy now.
Yep. Basically have a bunch of young ladies who decide to study witchcraft, and it gets a little more than they bargained for, I guess you might say. This is a collector's edition. Again, does have some pretty good special features on it. Like I said, this was one I was after for a while. And it, honestly, I think for a little while, it fell into that category of, do I have that movie? And I probably missed many opportunities to get it because I thought maybe I had it. And that was not the case. In fact, that was one of the reasons I got caught blindsided for the show, was I thought I had it.
Yeah.
So now I know better, but now I have it. And I look forward to seeing it again, possibly in service of a revisit if we ever get to do that.
Well, we'll be doing our meeting this coming week. Matter of fact, tomorrow we'll be doing a meeting to discuss the next year. And part of that will be allowing revisits. So you might be able to make the case. If we hit like a time for that, I'm thinking a couple things we'll be doing. Like if a birthday's in a month, no theme because it's already broken up. Themes for 4 months. And no more double features. So you never know. It might be one of those where you're like, okay, for my pick, I want the Craft. Da, da, da. So, and I got the Craft on that double feature Blu-ray, which has that one and the new one that they did.
Oh, right. I still haven't seen the new one myself. But...
Which is funny. Between the two of us, we've seen them both. 'Cause I haven't seen the original, but I've seen the new one. All right. So, video games are technically done, but not entirely done because, well, I like getting YouTuber related content sometimes when they put out discs and so on. And this guy put out one disc, and that is the Gaming Historian. This guy put out 16 of his episodes. You see, he signed it on the bottom. And he does some pretty in-depth rundowns on certain things. And I really did like his show. I thought it was fun. So I have this on a nice... I've got 16 of the episodes on a beautiful Blu-ray. Which he got professionally pressed, which is better than I could do. So, very nice. And the episodes are fun. I really enjoy it. He updates maybe once every 6 months, but he's a fun character. So, I think overall, it's not a bad thing. And it's kind of cool to have these. I mean, if you think about it, these types of things are not heavily printed. So they can become lost media. And if YouTube ever decides to, they can shut down the channels of any of these. They can shut down this channel. All the episodes vanished. Vapor. I'm not backing them up like I used to. I back up some of the ones that I put a ton of work in, but all the pickups and stuff, I'm just like, why am I backing these up? I think we know what we've picked up over the years. I don't know about you, but I might rewatch a pickup once just to see what things look like back in the day. But I don't. Yeah.
I tried keeping up with the channel for a while, but it got to be a lot.
No, the ones that take me forever, like the film psychoanalysis, that. Yeah. I think when I get to 12, I might actually do a limited run film psychoanalysis set. I might have to check with the directors of some of the films just to see if people would like a film psychoanalysis Blu-ray set for season 1, so to speak.
All righty. So next up, actually my last two have a further sub-theme. They're not only movies that I got from this Shocktober sale from Shout Factory, Scream Factory, what have you. And they're not only movies we covered on Movies Galore, but they were both Dustin picks. And they were both ones that I went into going, I know nothing about what I'm about to get into. And I ended up thoroughly enjoying both movies. And I think we had pretty lively discussions for both of them. So check them out. The first one is actually, I think, the first piece of media I have from a vast and well-known franchise that I just didn't have, which is the Tales from the Crypt series. And this is the Blu-ray of Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight.
Fun.
Which is very fun. Primarily, you see right front and center there in this bottom of the screen, Billy Zane was friggin' hilarious in this film. He made the movie. I mean, it was a decent movie overall, but Zane just, oh man, I never knew the dude had it in him. And, and I loved it. I love this movie. And this has a shockingly large amount of special features. I would not have expected that much. So I was like, that looks like a pretty cool pickup. And I needed to have something for Tales from the Crypt. So it's good times.
Oh, my. I just saw a Screen Rant article saying that one of the newer Predator events talks about how there's a group of predators that have trained xenomorphs morphs
Mm.
into hunting animals for them.
Mm.
So that's kind of fucked up right there. So I guess I should go. But yeah, that one's good. I also like Bordello of Blood too, but that one is a fun
Yeah.
one. So I got an Animu. Wow,
Ooh.
both my Animus are back to back.
Mm.
This one I probably got on a Sentai sale because it's a made in Japan joint.
Uh-huh.
And that's Hataraki Man.
Ah.
You know why I probably got this. Because it was probably very, very, very cheap.
It was very cheap, if I remember.
All 11 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, to compete with the guys, you have to be twice the man they are. It's hard to get ahead in the publishing industry. And it's even harder when you're a woman in Japan, where only 1 manager in 10 is female. Despite that, Hiroko Matsukada's determined to reach the top. And at only 28, she's worked her way up to an editor's position at Jidai Weekly. But to get that far, Hiroko has had to dedicate her life to work, and more work, while suppressing her more feminine character traits in order to blend in with her uncouth male coworkers. Just because the other Jidai employees have nicknamed her Hataraki Man, working man, doesn't mean that she wouldn't like the chance to be a bit more girly and has to romance occasionally. Unfortunately for Hiroko, her sometimes boyfriend is an even bigger workaholic than she is. So yeah, some interesting stuff. I think it would be worth checking out and looking at. Sounds like it'd be fun.
Looks good.
You got that one?
Oh yeah, I got it a while back.
I figured.
I haven't seen it yet.
Isn't that like what it was? I mean, there were a bunch of ones that were for like $5 and $1 a while back. It was just like, I've never seen it. It looks okay. I'll grab it for that. And,
I mean, I got it on Blu-ray, so it wasn't that cheap, but I feel like it was probably around 6 to 8, something like that.
because yeah,
It was pretty cheap.
10 or less. They were running some of those 10 or less on Blu-rays, which was pretty,
Some of them, yeah. It's nice. All right, this I know was not that cheap, but I think all the ones from the Scream Factory sale were kind of in the $12 to $15 range-ish. I think this was at the upper end of that range, but it's a 3-disc set with 4K as well as Blu-ray, so of course it was pricey. But a film that Dustin was really, really big on, and I believe when we covered it, it was unavailable. But then Shout did a re-release, and we were all excited about it. That's the movie Alligator. Nice collector's edition. Like I said, 3-disc edition. Look at all the bonus stuff on that one. But like I said, also, you have 4K and Blu-ray here. So not that this necessarily is something that I give tremendous hopes for how it will look on 4K, but you never know. This is an old Robert Forster joint. He's always fun. And it was a fun movie. I believe we covered both Alligator movies, and Shout does have a release for the second one, but they really went all out on their release for the first one. So I was like, I'll go ahead and get this, and then I'll get the second one next time I see it on sale. But I figured this was a must-get for this go-round.
I've got both films on a double feature set.
Yeah,
that was
they
an
did do
Australian
that.
one. And that was kind of cool. I think that's how I helped everybody see a better version, because the version that you can watch for free on YouTube is so grainy.
Yeah.
But I mean, the DVD isn't like perfect by any means, but it looks decent. It looks like it doesn't look bad. It looks DVD quality.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine a 4K could clean it up even better. So I'm very curious. I have thought about upgrading, but they'd have to get really, really cheap before I would upgrade, because I really don't feel, I didn't like them enough to want to spend a lot of money on them. Especially when I already have a copy. It just, it's one of those things. It's the same thing like I have a DVD copy of, I can't think of the name of it. It's actually an Oscar-winning film, but I care so little for the film. Well, another one, American Beauty. I care so little for the film that I don't really want to upgrade. I liked Alligator more than I liked American Beauty. Don't get me wrong, but still,
As you do.
So let's talk Animu again. And Sentai. And this one was $1. I remember this very much because I bought this on the last sale I bought this on. And it's only a movie, but it's on Blu-ray. And that is Planzer.
Plans it. I'd buy that for $1.
Well,
I think I did.
Yeah.
I think I did.
I mean, this one was dirt cheap. I was like, for $1, I'll do that.
Right.
Let's see here. Take my glasses off so I can read because, showing my age. In 2047, an unknown alien life form descends upon the Earth, destroying all the major cities in one fell swoop. The survivors unite and build a diffuser to stop the Fibrous. Stop Bruce. I'm going to call him Bruce from here on. Bruce. To stop
Bruce.
The invaders, the military would later codename the FOS, or Bruce.
Yes.
And a temporary peace is achieved. Jump forward to the 2053, the present. At last, desperate counterattack is being mounted against the enemy. Hiroshi Akishima, soldier in the Planetary Defense Force Alliance, would like nothing better than a shot at the aliens responsible for his father's death 6 years ago. However, the new offensive requires a diffuser to be dropped, leaving the entire planet terribly vulnerable once more. Will humanity regain the stars or lose everything in the final ultimate gamble? Bruce. Okay. There are something that is unusual though, is this comes with some special features. Interview with Mamoru Miyano, interview with Kaori Ishihara, an interview with Jun Awazu. So we've got two voice actors and the creator of the original series, stuff, side by side, animatics, with the director commentary. And commentary with Jun Awazu, the director, and Takeshi Maeda, one of the voice actors. And you got the trailers. So
Nice.
this is one of those cases where the special features might run longer than the film, which is
Right.
some minutes, 53 minutes. So something very unusual with Animu.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we don't get anime with lots of special features.
Every now and then, and if you count commentary tracks, which you see once in a blue moon, you sometimes will get ones that run once. Now, of course, everything I just said, like I said, will run a lot longer than the features themselves. And that's definitely true of the last two as well. And damn it, Criterion needs to get them some anime. Shout does, but
They got Wally, so that's a start.
I know. Wally comes out, I think, tomorrow.
Yep.
And Criterion will have 3 animated films in their collection. 3.
So it's Watership Down. That one, is it Daddy Longlegs? Daddy Longlegs is animated, isn't it?
No, it's going to be Wally, Watership Down, and the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay.
Like, we don't even have Isle of Dogs on Criterion yet, and they love Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Go figure. Now, speaking of dogs, and speaking of movies that you didn't care for, I've got 2 more Criterion films to show off from this month's sale. And one of them is a brand spanking new release. I think it came out last week. and it was a big award show contender last year, except that it ended up winning one Oscar, and I don't even think it was nominated at the Versus Awards. Although I tried, because I actually like this film. And this is the Jane Campion film Power of the Dog, which, for a new release, this has a shit ton of special features. And again, I'm not too crazy about them being the initial release for new films, but they're mostly doing pretty good films as new releases. And they're doing a whole lot better than they were back in the days of Life Aquatic and Chasing Amy and things like that. They're actually doing full-on Criterion-style releases, which is nice. Power of the Dog was a film that I got into it a lot more than I expected to. I still did not love it, but compared to Jane Campion's other films I've seen, this one was actually entertaining to me, whereas The Piano was not.
I've heard The Piano is a good film, but I need.
It's a good film, but I did not enjoy it.
Is it as boring as that one is? That one bored me.
This one I found much more interesting. Both of them do drag. Both of them do have their moments where they drag. But at any rate, I was glad to see this get a physical release. This was a Netflix film. Every time a Netflix film gets a physical release, it gives me hope that more of them will. And that's one of the reasons why I picked these up, is to encourage Criterion to keep at it. But, you know.
They still own the American Factory.
Yeah, I know. They're dragging their feet on that one. And I'm still waiting for them to friggin' put out Mudbound and the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I mean, what's with those, you know? Anyway, glad to have it, though.
All right. Well, now I'm going to impress y'all with an amazing film.
Ooh.
One that's greater than all the other Oscar films out there. And that is the Halloween classic, Stan Helsing.
Oh, dear God.
There are a few of these parody films that have caught my attention over the years. Mm-hmm. Scary Movie. Even Epic Movie to a point. Airplane. Hot Shots. Mm-hmm. Movies that do seem to have some fun to them, even though they use frequent cultural references in a comedic way. Stan Helsing, I do not know why it hits the way it does. Because what you got is this guy here, Stan Helsing, who is related to, of course, Van Helsing. And he works at a video store right there. Awesome. So he's going to go to a party with his friends, his ex-girlfriend, his best friend, and then his best friend's girlfriend. As they go to drive, he unfortunately has to drop off some videotapes at work. Well, unfortunately, the person he's dropping off the videotapes to, it lives in this neighborhood that is haunted and burned down many years ago, and all the spirits are trapped there. And only a Van Helsing can come and save the day. And mainly, it's the people that are after him. This Pinhead wannabe, this Chucky wannabe, this Freddy wannabe, and then this Michael Myers wannabe. Kind of looks more, who's wearing a Keanu Reeves mask, it looks like, instead of a other mask.
Hey, Foo.
Now, one of my favorite things in this is, of course, the late Leslie Nielsen, one of his last films. Not his last, but one of his last films. And he really hit it home. He played a waitress. a surly waitress in this bar, and I'm not gonna lie, it was hilarious watching his deadpan delivery as this surly waitress. I think that's what makes made Leslie Nielsen such a fun actor, is that he played everything straight. So when you got this, the way it plays and come across, it is hilarious. Did you watch this with me? I think I've shown this off once or twice.
I feel like I can't remember if I watched the whole thing. I know you showed me part of it. Hey, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie. Oh.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a fun film. I don't know what it is about it, but I like breaking into this every Halloween. And last year, I could not find it streaming anywhere. It was dropped from everything. They brought it back on, which is why this isn't opened. But I don't want to take that chance again. If they drop it from all streaming, I got myself backed up right now.
Very good.
Yep. Oh, and I guess I should. There you go.
And now for something completely different. Strange thing, everything I've presented so far, I have seen. And I'm going to end with one I have not seen. Go figure. But as I have said before, I do have a tradition that I have been following for a few years now with the Criterion sale, where I pick up a film by one of the greats of silent cinema. And for a while there, it was Charles Chaplin. And as far as I know, I have all the Criterion Chaplin films. He still has more films that Criterion hasn't released, so there's hope for a refresher in the future. Same thing with Harold Lloyd. I've picked up 3 of his. I have to check and see how many he has on Criterion. He may have a couple more. I'm just not as familiar with his filmography. But one person that they've been strangely slow to pick up on is Buster Keaton. But there is at least one Keaton film that they have, and it's actually one that I have not yet seen and did not have in the collection, and that is the movie The Cameraman, which they've put in a really nice edition that, again, crapload of special features. And actually one of those features is another Keaton film called Spite Marriage that came out the year after this. And there's also a couple of documentaries on there. You know, there's a whole bunch of, there's like 4 or 5 films in this collection.
Yeah.
But really looking forward to getting into this eventually. I'm probably, like I said, I may actually be at the end for these 3 actors for what Criterion currently has. I have to double check on that. If that is the case, I'm going to start getting just silent era films. But I'd like to keep that tradition going. It helps give my collection a little more character, I guess you might say. But I am looking forward to seeing this. It could be fun. Keaton was a fun guy. His films were fun films.
I don't know about the guy, but hey, what
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I've heard mixed things about the guy himself, but you know.
But you know what? We got to give it for the times. I mean,
Right.
we're talking around 100 years ago now. So
Just about, yes. This film is 90. I'm trying to do math and it's not working. 94 years old, I think. It's pretty old.
well, let's talk Dollar Tree.
Woo!
So occasionally when I go to Dollar Tree, I pick up things, $1.25 tree. And I saw this thing. It had Stephen Lang, William Sadler, Martin Cove, and Fred Williamson. I don't know who Martin Cove is, but I know the others.
Yeah.
It's a little film called VFW.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen it. But for $1-ish, it's not so bad.
Yeah. Actually, William Sadler was in Demon Knight. But yeah.
So, in the latest movie from iconic Fangoria, a typical night for a group of war veterans at the local VFW turns into an all-out battle for the survival when a teenage girl runs into their bar with a bag of stolen drugs, suddenly under attack from a gang of punk mutants looking to get back what's theirs. Mutants, huh? At any cost, the vets use every weapon they can put together to protect the girl and their VFW in the biggest fight for their lives. This sounds like a fun film. It really does.
Right.
But who knows when I'll get to it, or if I'll ever get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a great one to end on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Stephen Lang usually kicks ass, so could be fun.
I'm sure it'll be a fun
Mhm.
there. Of course, I hope that you all have enjoyed this little thing. I threw on some little discussion because it's the only one we're filming this week. But we are doing our Animu discussion next week, I guess, for Escaflowne. I'm most of the way through. I still got 3 discs left.
I'm not.
But we'll get to that. And, if you haven't watched it, you should watch my film cycle analysis of Horror Tales 666 Part 3. It took me a long time to put together. So I'm kind of glad that that's done and it's out. Well, it's not out by the time we're recording this, but it's definitely out by the time you're listening to this.
All right.
So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.